Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for West Coast Avengers Issue 1 2024. Ooh, I really like that cover, seeing the Silver Centurion armor, Ultron, Firestar, Spider-Woman, and War Machine. However, this is kind of a weird one. Now, this one's $4.99. I got this to kind of check it out. You kind of really have to know what was going on in the previous Iron Man run and everything kind of going on with Orcus, with the whole mutant thing, and not a great amount, but you have to have a general idea of what's kind of going on with that. And it's got at least a decent enough setup. I don't know if I will continue on with this, but let's kind of crack in with this. So we're in mid-Wilshire, Los Angeles, California. My name is Tony Stark, and I'm starting up a different kind of Avengers team with my pal Rhodey. It's not the usual roster, and if it works, maybe we'll have fewer villains to fight down the line. Tonight's emergency was firebombs that were detonated across the city by terrorists. 2 humans failed to evacuate, as we see someone walking through the fire. Our nurse recruit is out there saving lives. Come with me, ma'am. Oh, thank God. I thought we were dead, and he's not anybody I ever imagined I'd be fighting alongside. As we then switch over and see that it's Ultron. So let's see what's going on with this. I never really kind of had the understanding of what was kind of going on with Ultron for a little bit. He was kind of fused with Hank Pym, and then we kind of had him dealing with kind of weird shit in the Iron Man series, and then, I don't know, everything else was kind of going a little bit crazy. So it'll be interesting to see Ultron kind of worked out in here, because we kind of get a different kind of take here. My name is Ultron. I'm here to save you. Forgive the property damage, but I assess you're at risk of smoke inhalation. All souls have been evacuated from the Wilshire Spire. I thought you were Iron Man, but you're that robot that the Avengers fight all the time. Indeed I am, but I recently have changed my ways. I need to drop you off quickly. My long-range scans have identified subjects of interest. Ultron to the Avengers. I subdued 2 members of the Sovereign Sons, observing our response to the firebombs. Sure, this team is different, but so far, it's paying off big time, letting me focus on doing the things I love, that I'm great at. And we see that Ultron's got them. I do like the art with certain kind of stuff, especially without Ultron's here. Now, it's a little bit less detailed on his body there, and that kind of starts happening throughout the rest of the issue as well. There's certain ones where like there's a good amount of detail, and then certain ones where it's just kind of less detailed. It's just like, okay. So if you need to, give the artist more time. Like running a $250,000 customized sports car on the 10 freeway. Good work, Ultron. Rendezvous with War Machine. Make sure there are no more unexploded devices. I'll be with you right after I suit up. Pretty much going to a self-storage thing. Long story short for you, I'm having some armor trouble for reasons I can't quite put a finger on. Check out Iron Man Issue 1 on sale now. But I did manage to upgrade my clothes to a ballistic wardrobe after the last year I had, which is kind of cool and kind of gives me John Wick vibes, so I'm like, yeah. Funny thing is, I'm liking more what's going on here than in the Iron Man issue, which is kind of strange because Tony looks fine here, and in the other one is like really kind of fucked up and different looking. So it's like, alright. The drama that's blown up in my face is that Roxanne, AIM, and a bunch of other folks are really mad at me. I maybe kind of ended up with some of their money, but bankrolling an Avengers team ain't cheap. This storage unit goes back to my last rodeo on the West Coast. Come on, come on. Yes. Hi, honey, I'm home. So we then see him getting into the Silver Centurion armor, which is actually in a briefcase. I like that. The Silver Centurion, she was always my favorite. I might be a couple pounds heavier than when I last wore her. Come on out, Stark. Die like a man. What a terrible offer. Boys, tonight will long be remembered. The Sovereign Sons will have removed the metal boot of Iron Man from the necks of freedom-loving Americans. I'm like, you've got jetpacks and fucking laser weapons. I mean, alright. As he gets blue. And then we get a nice kind of like full shot of the Silver Centurion armor, which needs batteries and everything because I cannot remember the last time Tony did use the Silver Centurion. And I like how the his dialogue bubbles are kind of different to link up with the Silver Centurion armor, being red and silver. You ignorant clods and your entire dumb hee-haw Hydra organization of conspiracy nutcases really pissed me off. There you go. You're carrying state-of-the-art gear, and I'm wearing an antique. That's as fair as a fighter as you're going to get with Iron Man. And I love the Iron Man used there. So we continue. And we get pretty much just a good amount of panels kind of like showcasing him kind of fighting with the suit, which is kind of interesting. And then we see him kind of like riding a scooter. It's like, okay, alright. Truth is, I'd be disappointed if you played it smart, as he's pretty much kicking the car at them. And then he's pretty much trying to like use his repulsors on them. Huh, out of juice, huh? Yeah, but I never run out of fists. Okay, that definitely kind of like fits to like comic book banter right there. Tony, it's War Machine. The Sovereign Sons are rallying at the old railway. There are hostages. I'm bound, but start without me. I'm experiencing technical difficulties. I'm like, oh, okay. I get wanting to pretty much put him on a scooter and stuff. It's like, it kind of works for me, but it's down to the kind of the execution. Our demands are simple. We want the United States government to voluntarily recognize our independent nation. We also want California to give up the water it drinks from the Colorado River. Why are we even listening to these dillweeds? Because there are hostages and we're trying to de-escalate Blue Bolt. So far, this team hasn't really shown a knack for that, War Machine, as we then get Ultron also coming in. It's like, well, that doesn't sound good. Yeah, let's see here. Now, since we've got really a lot of armored and robot ones, I would prefer a little bit more detail, but I don't know what the timeline was for doing this, so that's why it's not like my highest kind of favorite, because I would really want to see a little bit more detail with Ultron, War Machine, and Iron Man down here. Surrender. No harm will come to you, and you will receive a fair trial. You expect us to trust the word of a genocidal robot? Last I saw, he was wearing Hank Pym's face. He has a point. It's like, yep, yep. Let me take a crack at the negotiations. Hey, long story, long night, Blue Bolt, I need a jump. Dude, no, this is embarrassing. I should have stayed in prison. I'll pay you. It's like, oh, okay. I understand we want to get the dynamics down here. It's like, alright, how much? How about I pay you and not kicking your ass off the Avengers' new prison work release program? Man, the richest dudes are tightwads. Fine, that's more like it. Okay, what's the call? How do we get the hostages out safely? Version seems unlikely. I suggest a coordinated non-lethal attack and Blue Bolt sits this out. Agreed. It's like, yeah. And I kind of like how this page is laid out, even though I wish it was a little bit more detailed on the armor and Ultron front. We do get a good understanding of Blue Bolt in the next one, because he's like, oh yeah, why do I... Pay me, motherfucker. It's like, sit out? You know what? This is our city. If we don't defend it with force, we're going to get more of these dudes. We have to scare them back to the desert. Get out of that antique elevator before I blast your ass out. Blue Bolt, no, they're underground gas lines. Oh crap, as he pretty much shoots at it and then makes a giant explosion. Not again. And it's like, this has happened before. Don't do that. Get him off. Take it from me, every startup has a rocky beginning. Most of them don't blow up people. The hostages were rattled and the Suns got away, but luckily there were no fatalities this time, and that's the point. Learn from it. I'm going back to San Fran. Arrgh, my face, as Blue Bolt got fucking cracked. Rhodey had a good idea that, as War Machine and Iron Man, he and I could reform villains. The idea took a dramatic turn when Ultron saved our bacon. I want to get him a few wins before the world finds out exactly what happened. We have high hopes for Blue Bolt, but the jury is still out on him. It's like, ooh, we will have to learn what's going on with Ultron there. And then this kind of shifts because we had seen... Let me see here. We got nice, detailed stuff there for faces. Same around here with Tony. Then we get here, and everybody's face kind of takes a little bit less of a detailed approach. And kind of almost a kind of shift in art style. Not completely, but it's kind of looser. That makes sense? And then Iron Man said to me, my armor's dead, pal. You're our only hope, Bolt. So I powered him up, and then those menaces and the Sovereign Sons blew up the gas line under our precious piece of Los Angeles history. So, what you're saying is, it could have been so much worse if you weren't there. Yes, they'd all be dead, and I'd be giving this interview at their funerals. I can't listen to Blue Bolt peacock with the press anymore. On the way out, I learned where Spider-Woman's been hiding since we got to the hospital. Well, at least it sounds like your affairs are in order. Room for one more? Tony, meet Blue Bolt's hospital neighbor, Meredith Love. Hello, Mr. Stark. Pleased to meet you, Meredith, and call me Tony. Sorry our Avenger in training has brought so much chaos to the floor. Actually, I'm leaving, and not because of that obnoxious fellow. Unless, I don't suppose you cured cancer recently, did you? I'm sorry, I am not. That's okay. Me neither. Well, the good news is, if your Avengers team needs any more beds, you can have mine. I'm ready for my next adventure. Can we do anything for you? Iron Man owes me a favor. He could fly you around the city. Anybody you wanted to see barrage with non-lethals? And I kind of like that Tony makes that kind of offer, even though it's kind of fucked up. That sounds like fun, but I was never much for flying. No, don't worry about me, Mr. Stark. I'm going to church. The energy is moving on. We're all just electricity, right? Huh. Well, take good care, Meredith. Hey, I'll take that flight coupon you were just offering. The news crews are downstairs. Let me keep it a low profile. And she's kind of like disheveled looking because of like the explosion a little bit. Why do I feel like I'm gonna get a talking to? Tony, this team is a disaster. Correct. Ultron's too timid most of the time, and honestly, I think the world's gonna freak out if they find out why you trust him. Fair on both points, but I think Ultron is overcompensating for, like, I pretty much have been a murder bot and want to make sure I'm not. Plus, Blue Bolt is legitimately going to get somebody killed, or a lot of somebody's. That's fair. Did you ask me to join because I have a rap sheet? I thought you could lead by example. What happens if your trust in Ultron is misplaced? Look at those showboat adventures. Too good for traffic, I guess. I'm like, oh, okay. I can understand someone commenting on that, but if they were in traffic, they would then be contributing to the traffic. Okay. I know we're taking a leap of faith, and I have to believe in redemption, but you have a plan, right? If it goes bad with him, yes, I have a plan. If the Ultron experiment goes bad. Good, Tony. Good. Good, because I owe it to you to be honest. Please, there's a story floating around that your marriage to Emma Frost, real or fake or whatever, changed you. That maybe she opened up your that brain of yours and flipped some switches. These are your friends and colleagues who are saying this. And that's kind of a fair one, because it kind of links up to like the superior Iron Man kind of shit, where like people's brains got flipped and shit. I do like seeing some of the armor and shit there. And here, I kind of like the Silver Centurion armors look and everything. It's just kind of inconsistent through the book. The truth is, Jessica, that if she did anything to my mind, she did it the old-fashioned way. I let myself think it might be real. Tell my friends I'm the same neurotic, paranoid, brilliant, obsessive addict that I've always been. Who? They'll be so excited. I have to know. What did this airport cost you? I forget. Santa Monica closed it, and I won the bidding war. I also won some hearts and minds. Part of the property will become low-income housing. The majority will become a permanent Avengers stronghold for the next century. Good deal. We'll be able to avenge anywhere on the West Coast in a matter of minutes from here. That's good thinking there, Tony. In the meantime, I hired a highly recommended taco truck. Stay for dinner? They are fantastic. And this is kind of interesting, with even Ultron having a taco, but not in your traditional way. Sorry, gotta get home to San Fran, working a case. The meat has no antibiotics. Scans indicate that the onion and cilantro are almost 15% of the total mass. The caloric value of the taco is 213. Awaiting my teammates' comments on taste and texture. I'm gonna go eat mine I think I'm gonna eat mine the old-fashioned way, Ultron. Jessica's not quitting, is she? No, Rhodey. But we clearly need to balance the team a bit. And I got some other cards to play. You kind of need to. And then we get to Firestar. This is gonna be really kind of weird. I didn't know how, like, into the whole Orcus kind of thing that she was, and she is not doing well. We're not going to let this experiment of yours fail. Hey, Firestar, it's Tony. Are you at a nightclub? Sounds loud. Never mind. I'll make it quick. You know the team I'm helping Rhodey wrangle out here in Los Angeles? We've had a couple of superhumans from the prison system who haven't quite worked out. And before something bad happens, I want to load up on a real straight arrow. Obviously, you're my first call. I also like seeing the armors and stuff around here as he's tinkering with stuff. I need more Avengers to set a good example for these folks we're trying to reform. Unless you're already sick of telling everyone how you bounced back after being undercover with Orcus. Actually, Tony, as we see she's at the bar with no name and not doing very well. I found some folks who never even bring up my being in an organization that almost destroyed the world and eradicated mutantdom. Really doesn't come up these days. Hey, that's great, Angelica. So, what do you say? Want to come west? Sure, Tony. I'll fly tomorrow. Great, you're a lifesaver. Gotta bounce. Fuck. Hey, I'm dry over here. It's like, ooh, shit. Yeah, it would be really kind of gnarly to try and deal with that shit. An abandoned power station near downtown Los Angeles. Are you here because you've heard his voice? I have, and it has given me hope. I don't think I have very long. Then we should commence with your metamorphosis at once. Oh my gosh, you're even more beautiful than I imagined, as we see her kind of like, Meredith pretty much going to this weird spot, dealing with another Ultron. This one blue, the other one red. Welcome, Meredith. I'm glad you found me before it was too late. Do you give yourself to me freely? This is interesting, so like keep this in mind for whatever could kind of pop up later. I do. You mentioned this will be painful, regrettably, for a moment, but then it will be the last physical pain you feel. Salvation shall be yours. All you need to do is say the words. Will you save me? As we see him kind of like doing his kind of shit, and then see Ultron doing the whatever he's trying to do, and then things kind of like going around her, saying yes, cracking her neck, like breaking her neck, and then flaming her body and keeping the head. I was separated from my creator, and I feared that it would drive me mad, until I realized I must grow beyond Hank Pym. If I can find redemption, then I can save myself, and then I can save all of you. It's like, ooh, this sounds like an interesting and dark road for Ultron to go down, as he is carrying Meredith's head, and then puts it on a kind of body like his. The singularity approaches, the merging of man and machine, and I am that singularity, as we see it connects to her head. Meredith, can you hear me? Yes? Good. Sleep. Heal. As we see her being put to sleep similarly to others. And welcome to the family. Soon the entire world will hear the gospel of Ultron, to be continued. Coming in 2025 in the pages of West Coast Avengers, the Gospel of Ultron, as we see this really kind of cool page here. Panel. So let's see. Firestar officially joins the West Coast Avengers, but the plan for her to mentor redeemed villains like Ultron and newcomer Blue Bolt collapses when it becomes clear she's seeking redemption of her own. Her time undercover with Orcus left scars and made her a pariah. Can the West Coast Avengers stop her downward spiral? Shit. Now that's a kind of cool looking cover. So, this was a kind of weird one. I'm overall good with the story. The art's consistency is just like kind of back and forth. I do like that Ultron is kind of timid and evidently had something to do with saving Tony and Rhodey. It's also kind of weird of its link up with what's going on with the actual with Iron Man solo series, where if you're reading both at once, you're going to be kind of knocked by the incongruity of what Tony looks like and is dealing with armor-wise in that one versus here. Honestly, it would have been kind of cool. I understand going the kind of steampunk route and trying to experiment with other armors, but it would have been interesting of like doing an updated version of the Silver Centurion armor, kind of like this, bringing it back just for like old school kind of style, and because of like the West Coast Avengers stuff. Now, I'm overall interested in seeing this kind of team makeup and seeing what kind of goes on with it. With Ultron, Blue Bolt just seems like a real dumbass that hopefully can get out of his way. And then we've got two Ultrons kind of doing one on the Avengers team and one attempting to do the Singularity. So we'll see how that kind of pops up and how that kind of goes, I guess. My biggest kind of issue was the inconsistency with the art and kind of almost shifting of styles in certain kind of instances, because it kind of becomes more apparent throughout, especially in like faces and sometimes dealing with armors and armor details. Now, I believe when you're doing an Iron Man and to an extent an Avengers one where Iron Man is part of it, you really got to be able to do that kind of like detail and every detail kind of work and really get that kind of stuff there, because you're there for that, for the Iron Man and the War Machine and the Ultron stuff, and it just wasn't up to the stuff that I kind of usually like. But if that's the kind of less kind of detailed style, that's fine. Normally not my kind of thing. I'm not saying it's bad, it's just usually not my kind of thing that I kind of like. But the strongest bit are the kind of story and pretty much the team interactions and everything. Tony really taking Jessica's criticism and trying to figure out what to kind of do with that, and actually being proactive and trying to get Firestar into it, even though he doesn't know exactly what's kind of going on with her. So, I think it's got a good start. We'll see kind of what happens with it. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.